Hello again, I'm Robert Fithen, and why am I standing in front of the Gateway Arch in St. Louis? Because in this video I want to talk about some of the great St. Louis lesser known psych rock, garage rock bands from the late 60s and early 70s. Now a lot of great musicians have come from St. Louis, like Chuck Berry and Tina Turner moving here to start her career. Also Michael McDonald from Ferguson, Missouri. You got jazz people like Miles Davis. It's endless. You got rock bands that signed with major labels like Head East and Mama's Pride. But I want to talk about the lesser known, obscure stuff, the stuff I love, the psych rock, the garage rock. And this is my favorite. We're starting off a little a ways from here. Independence, Missouri is where the label is. This wonderful record label, by the way. You gotta love, you know it's gonna be good when it's got a label like that. But the band is pretty. I've talked about them on my channel before, and the song is Mustache in Your Face, my absolute favorite on here. And yeah, Numero Group actually re-released this. They did a wonderful job. They got a hardback booklet with this, all kinds of information. And not only the 7-inch, which is now affordable thanks to them, but they've also done a bonus 45 in here, including songs like Electric Hand and Red Spoon Gravy. Funhouse is on here as well. Definitely check out the band Pretty and Mustache in Your Face. I know I've talked about them before. Also, probably in my top 5 again is this band, The Happy Return from St. Louis. They recorded for Cadet Records. I don't think they ever had an album out, neither did the band Pretty. The track here that's side A is I Thought I Loved Her. It's okay, but the real fire is the B-side, To Give Your Lovin'. You gotta love that. Check that out for the great guitar, the kind of smarmy lyrics, To Give Your Lovin' from the band The Happy Return from St. Louis. If you stream it though, you want to stream the mono version. The stereo version that was recently uploaded on some sort of compilation kind of separates things a little too much, kind of takes away a little bit of the magic. You want the nice mono mix of that. Cave Records, more stuff like the Pretty, recorded in a cavern. Yes, an actual cave is where this was recorded. I'm trying to get as much as I can off this label. This one actually came from Psychedelic, thank you very much. Wakefield is the band. And this is another one, Musicland USA is the label. The band is The Guys. And they had a song called Long Haired Music. The A side of this is The Looking Glass. They're okay, but again, like a lot of others, the magic is the B side, and it's called Biographical Except 6319Q. Now with a title like that, you know it's going to be great. So check out some of these singles. And yeah, I'm trying to get my game up on the Cave label, so I'm trying to find as much as I can, but they're hard to find around here for whatever reason. I got to go to like Independence and do some searching around for that. But definitely check out the Pretty song, Mustache in Your Face. There is just a treasure trove of bands from St. Louis that maybe had 1 or 2 singles out in the 1960s or early 70s. Bands like the Advarks and the Last Exit and the XLs and the Intruders and the Squires and Hot Water and Osage Lute, a really cool like chanting, like kind of meditation sounding band called Fountain. A lot of them can be found on this really cool YouTube channel called Psych 45s. This is an absolute treasure trove of great garage and psych rock from the late 60s, early 70s. And somebody put a lot of work into that channel. You should definitely check out that YouTube channel, Psych 45s. Got a lot of rare 45s, not only from St. Louis, but from all over, everywhere. And you know, to buy these things for yourself, it'd be like, some of these are like $300, $500, $900 45. So somebody was nice enough to upload a lot of these on YouTube. It's called Psych 45s. You should definitely check that out. Also check out the website, St. Louis Live Music Historical Society. Now, it's a lot more than just live music. In fact, this is a great place to see all kinds of information about great St. Louis bands from the 60s and 70s. Actually, it goes all the way up until the 80s. The website is actually stlmusicyesterdays.com. I mean, the list of this thing just goes on and on and on. Definitely check out this website, stlmusicyesterdays.com. Now, it doesn't have anything you can listen to, but it does have background information and great publicity shots and concert flyers for great bands that were out in St. Louis in the late 60s, early 70s. Those bands that just never really got a break. And the list on here is just endless. Definitely check out this website. There's so much there to see. And yeah, and then you'll want to go just kind of look up songs on YouTube. I'm sure somebody's uploaded them somewhere. And if that is not enough, you want to go to this website called Garage Hangover. Now, this one features great 60s garage and psych bands from all over the country, but of course, St. Louis is included in that as well. You get nice write-ups for each band, also publicity stills, and this one has the links so you can hear the songs from YouTube right there on the pages. So definitely check that one out too, Garage Hangover. If you're in St. Louis checking out all this music and it makes you hungry, you should check out the Parkmore, this historic restaurant in St. Louis, not just for some good food, but also the records on the wall. Yeah, they don't just have any records up here. They got the Beatles' White Album. They got Elvis Presley's debut. These are good records to be on a wall. All right, we're in this place in St. Louis now called the Del Mar Loop, standing next to the statue of iconic Chuck Berry, but we all already know all about Chuck Berry. I want to talk about an obscure band from Quincy, Illinois, a little bit of ways from here, but they are called Ilmo Smokehouse. So that's like an Illinois, Missouri thing, Ilmo, for those that may not be from the U.S. It's the border right next to St. Louis, Illinois, Missouri. Anyway, they had an album come out in 1970 on an independent label. It was re-released on Roulette Records, and it's just called Ilmo Smokehouse. They did re-release that later on as a 2-album set that you can get now called Ilmo Smokehouse and More. Kind of like your basic early 70s groove rock band. They got the harmonica going, they got the piano going. They got a nice guitar groove in the very first track, which is called Devil Take My Grandma. Great title. That starts the whole thing off. He wants the devil not only to take his grandma, but also his mom, his girl, just basically all the women in his life have done him wrong, so devil take him. Nice cowbell in this song as well. Are You Happy is the next track. This is where the saxophone comes in. This is where it gets a little too jazzy for me, but you know, it's all right. Movement number 1 and 13 is track 3. Now here's where the political sort of, you know, society comment comes in. Political commentary, if you will, anti-racism, anti-war. You know, it's a pretty long track, and it delves into a lot of different areas, but it's definitely an improvement over track 2. So the reason I picked this particular album to talk about next to Chuck Berry here is because they do have a cover version of Johnny Be Good. Now this is a completely unnecessary track on here. They don't do it any justice at all. Johnny Be Good is a Chuck Berry song. It should not be remade. I'm talking to you, Elton John. I'm talking to you, Judas Priest. I'm talking to you, Ilmo Smokehouse. Meyer Gold is after that, and you might be wondering at this point, wait, this is a 1970 like rock album. Where's the drum solo? It is in this song. So yes, there are a drum solo. The drum sound on this album, I'm not sure if it's just the way that it was uploaded or what, but it definitely has that kind of waffly, kind of wavery MP3 drum sound. I wish I had an original copy of this. I could give you more insight as to how it sounds on the original record. It's about a $60, $65 record if you want that original independent pricing. Not sure about the roulette one. I'll probably end up getting the redo, that's the repress, that's like the double album. I don't know how much that is, but yeah, Meyer Gold with a nice long drawn out drum solo. I also want to talk about the vocals on this album. They're a little bit basic. They don't really do a lot. He doesn't really go into a lot of different, you know, reaches and really belt it out. It's kind of like just a kind of thing throughout the whole thing. He does have a talking blues song on here called Have You Ever Had the Blues? And he's all about his woman that left. He's got a gun. He's going to go find her. And he's actually looking in bars on the St. Louis riverfront. So there's another St. Louis reference from this band on this album. Luckily, he just puts the gun away after he sees her crying in a bar. And yeah, it's the talking blues thing, harmonica going on, you know, the typical thing like that. A couple tracks left. One of them, one after this, has a really nice groove rock to it. We're back to the rock and roll. We're back to what we came for with this album. I definitely want to pick this up at one point. Don't have it right now, but Ilmo Smokehouse is their name, from 1970. And if you're in the Del Mar Loop, of course you want to check out the Chuck Berry statue, but you also want to go to Chuck Berry's old restaurant, Blueberry Hill. This is where he used to play all the time. He basically owned this place. And so, yeah, Blueberry Hill, you can see the inside, just how cool this place is. It's definitely a St. Louis institution. And then right down the street, you'll find the St. Louis Walk of Fame with all the music stars right there on the street. And of course, you got to check out Vintage Vinyl, the record store that's been around for years and years and years in St. Louis. take a trip inside. The Brown Acid series is another great place to find obscure psychedelic rock and garage rock, and even some bands from St. Louis on there. My favorite has got to be a band called The Summit, and they have a song called The Darkness. But there's nice St. Louis stuff spread out over these albums. You got to love the Writing Easy label for not only doing this incredible series, The Brown Acid, the very first trip here, but they also release full albums from bands from all over the country, including St. Louis, that never had a chance to have an album. They, had their demo tape that never got released, they never got signed. Bands like Backjack. This just came out 50 years after it was recorded and just sitting in a vault. It definitely has that demo sound, but this band could have made it. The vocals kind of have that growling sound, kind of like a C.F. Turner type of thing. But great stuff on here, like Bridge Waters Dynamite. That is a guitar workout on that song. They also have a really funny one called Gearhead, all about this guy that just loves his car. He's going to drive fast and kick his car's ass, and he's going to go 90 miles an hour in a 25 mile an hour zone. You know, the typical early rock kind of stuff. Assault and Battery is where he goes to a concert and gets assaulted and batteried, I guess, by the guitar player. The music just beats him up and he's left lying on the floor. So a great listen, not only the music, but also lyrically as well. There's some really fun stuff on this Backjack album. Again, a band that recorded their demo and it just sat around for 50 years until the great label Writing Easy decided to release it so we could all check it out. It's even got a little bit of info in here. Nice color vinyl as well on this too, a nice red vinyl. And it comes with a little sheet in here that tells you all about them. Look at that red and black and gold splotch on there. But tells you all about them, tells you some of the places they played. They played with people. My favorite concert listing on here is when they played with Canned Heat and Ted Nugent at the Arnold, Missouri ice rink. You gotta love the info like that. Parchment Farm is another album that Writing Easy just came out with. Just like the Backjack album, it's a band that never got signed. They had their demo, it was laying around for 50 years, and now it's finally on vinyl. It definitely has that sound of a demo. The drums are kind of have that flutter kind of tape sound. The guitar on this sounds like a really cheap amp, just absolutely cranked all the way up. It's insane. Songs of the Dead starts it off. That's probably the best track on here. Another guitar workout on that. Devil's Film Festival. I mean, just for the title alone, Devil's Film Festival. Parchment Farm, another St. Louis band that, you know, they opened for all these great bands and played locally, but made a demo and just never made it. And here we are 50 years later talking about their album that was just released. And by the way, since I'm standing in front of the St. Louis Arch, I also wanted to mention, if you're ever in the St. Louis area and you want to visit the Arch, don't forget you can go inside this thing and go all the way to the top. That's kind of a big part of the point. You just don't want to like look at it and go, wow, that's a big arch. You can actually go inside of it and take a trip to the top and look out the windows, both on the downtown St. Louis side and the Illinois side, and see the Mississippi River. No, the Mississippi River is not a place to swim. There's no beach. It's very muddy, but you know, it's the gateway to the West. And then there's bands that actually had a record deal back when they were first out, like Farm, even though it was an independent release. These guys from Mount Vernon, Illinois, and just been re-released a couple of years ago on the Gerson label, so now everyone can afford it. This was originally one of those albums that, you know, if you want an original press of this, it's going to cost you about $850 for an original. But yeah, nice reissue of this, sounds great. Got liner notes in here, nice little 2-page booklet on the guys with all kinds of photos and stuff. And the music is what counts. It's great blues rock, a lot of harmonica in there. You got the twin guitars going, battling it out. So this is some really great stuff from Farm. Really short album though. This is less than 30 minutes long. They could have tagged on a couple more songs on here. They got a nice version of Statesboro Blues. They kind of have an Allman Brothers kind of sound anyway. Not quite as intricate as the Allman Brothers in some of their albums, but nice album from the band Farm. And like I said, you can pick this up for like 25 bucks thanks to the Gerson reissue. This was actually, they're from Mount Vernon, I said, but this was actually recorded in Golden Voice Studios. That is in Pekin, Illinois, a couple hours north of here. A little town with that great recording studio in there that not only recorded this album, but also some regional and local bands that actually went to major labels. Like that's where Head East recorded Flat as a Pancake in its original version. That basically A&M just re-released the original thing, but just flipped the sides actually with a different cover. Head East recorded this here, went back years later, recorded another album after they went big time. Also Hartsfield recorded this album here. Starcastle recorded their first album at the Golden Voice Studios in Pekin as well. And even the Chicago band Styx recorded one of their early albums, Man of Miracles, at Golden Voice Studios. Dan Fogelberg was in a 60s garage rock band too, came back and recorded one of his albums at Golden Voice as well. You can see all about all of this stuff and a lot more when you watch the documentary on YouTube about Golden Voice Studios. It's an 18-part documentary, but each of the parts are like 6 to 10 minutes long, so you do have to kind of keep pushing play, but it's 18 parts long, chock full of great information about all those great 60s garage rock bands, and then some that recorded there as well. Because it wasn't just those albums I mentioned, there was so many great garage rock singles recorded there from these like bands that put out, 2 and 3 singles, high school bands, garage rock bands, you gotta love it. And like I said, Golden Voice Studios, check it out on YouTube. And if you want to hear some of those great singles and you don't want to buy them all for like, 80 bucks a piece, you can check out compilations like this, Psychedelic States. They have one for each different state. This one, of course, for Illinois, featuring all kinds of great bands from, well, of course, Chicago, but also bands from Central and Southern Illinois as well, including a band called Suburban 9 to 5 that recorded at Golden Voice Studios. It features Gary Richrath, that would later, of course, be in REO Speedwagon. Now, for more St. Louis area bands, you can check out Psychedelic States, the 2-disc Missouri version. That has got all kinds of great garage rock on it as well. Now, I do have an original collectible album from the 1960s on an independent label. Not a reissue, this is the real deal. From 1969, it is the band Touch and Street Sweet. I actually found this at a Goodwill in the late 90s. Didn't know what it was. I just thought it looked cool. There's the police, hassling everybody. They got them up against the wall. Just like in the late 60s there on the back cover. This is actually a gatefold. Still kind of crackles when you open it up. This is in really, really good condition. Like I said, I found this at a Goodwill. Didn't even know what it was, just like the cover and everything. Didn't find out until years later. This is actually worth about 500 bucks, and they're from St. Louis. But yeah, so it's got this little green sticker that I can't get off, but other than that, this is in terrific condition. On the mainline label, so that's what that looks like. And yeah, so you might be wondering, why am I not showing this, somewhere downtown St. Louis? I'm not going to take some $500 record on the streets of downtown St. Louis. Are you crazy? So yeah, I thought I'd show this one back home. But yeah, this is the band Touch. And they've got 2 vocalists. They've got Raymond Stone and Paulette Butts trading off back and forth. Paulette kind of sounds like a little bit of a countrified version of Grace Slick. Or maybe not at all. But yeah, it's got a couple really quick, like minute-long instrumentals. And then it goes into the first proper song called Get a Gun. So she's got some advice for you. Paulette says, get a gun. When some redneck on the street yells out and calls you hon, just turn around and pull out your gun. Get a gun. There's several instances where you will need a gun. So it kind of, it's this Midwestern St. Louis street, garage rock, psych rock, blues rock type of thing that really kind of sets it apart. Because guns keep showing up in these songs. Like the earlier song from Ilmo Steakhouse, or Smokehouse, yeah, so guns everywhere. But yeah, get a gun is her advice. And then you got Catfish on here. You got this real mellow version of the MC5's Motor City's Burning. So it's a slow, mellow burn. It's like a nice warmth there. Yeah, so they're from St. Louis singing about Motor City. A lot of people used to connect like Detroit, St. Louis, Chicago. They were all kind of the same, Midwestern type of thing there. But yeah, Touch is the band, and Street Sweet. Really glad I picked this up a long, long time ago. I think it was $1 or something like this. It's in excellent condition, except for this little green sticker, which I cannot get off, because this has like a matted finish on it. So as soon as you start to try to peel this green sticker off comes the cover along with it. So I have to get some, I don't know, Goo Gone's just going to leave a big wet spot, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. Probably just leave it alone. But yeah, on the mainline label, did I show this? Red label there, so this is an original. It's been reissued a couple of times. I think back in the 90s on a CD, and then maybe in the early mid-2000s or something like that on a label from Spain or something like that. But this is definitely an original, kind of blues rockish kind of thing going on here. But yeah, these are all about the streets. It does have a drum solo. Got that? Check that box. Last song on here called Getting Off has a drum solo that only comes out of the right channel for like 3 minutes. Just the left channel, you can just unplug that, unplug your speaker for 3 minutes, give it a rest, because everything's coming out of the right speaker for that drum solo. And getting off back in these days was a term, I think, when you got really, really high. Like if you took your drugs and you were able to get high from them, then you got off. You got to kind of get into the 60s kind of, you know, vocabulary when you're listening to some of these records. But yeah, wrapping it up with this one. This is Touch and Street Sweet. Some nice blues rock there. Pretty rare stuff there as well. So once again, I'm Robert Fitton. Thank you for taking this journey with me through St. Louis and kind of central Illinois, southern Illinois area. Garage rock, psych rock, some blues rock there as well. Don't forget, please visit the YouTube channel Psych 45s for a lot of great, rare, right off the 45 uploads. That is an excellent YouTube channel. Very generous of the person that's doing that to share all that with us. 45s from all over the country and maybe some from outside the country as well. Also, Garage Hangover, the website that's just got an absolute cornucopia of information on all kinds of garage bands. And for something a little more local, STLmusicyesterdays.com. That is the St. Louis garage and psych and everything website. That goes all the way up to the 80s, actually. And, of course, check out the documentary on Golden Voice Records from Pekin, Illinois on YouTube in 18 parts. So a lot of stuff to check out. If you think you got some stuff you need me to check out that has to do with St. Louis classic garage and psych rock from this area, central Illinois area, from the late 60s, mid-60s, early 70s. Let me know about that. If I get enough good stuff in there, I'm going to definitely make a part 2 of this. And so thank you so much for joining me for this one. Once again, I'm Robert Fitton, and hopefully I will talk to you again soon.